Good evening and welcome back again. It's pitch black, it's -5 degrees and we need to take a picture of a waterfall with no light. Not too far to walk in, and then we've got to find the spot. Really a tip off from someone on Facebook who posted a picture of these ice pancakes on the river here. So that was during the daytime. I thought it might look pretty good at night. It might of course be absolute rubbish. So a bit of a challenging one. There's literally no moon at the moment. There's about 1 trillion stars, and I doubt there's going to be enough light to light up the landscape, so we might need to get our thinking caps on for this one. Right, we're just approaching the river, which is just over there. There's some ice on it already, which is pretty cool. We want to be just up here. A little bit further on, there's a pool with a waterfall coming into it. Now that's what we're looking for at the moment. Right, we've got ourselves in situ. We've got just here the pancake ice, and we've got a waterfall up there. And you have to take my word for it, but further up, we've got the back end of the Coolins. We've got the camera set up here, and we're just starting to get set. See if we can find a composition, probably vertical. Get the ice pancakes in and the waterfalls. Some amazing icicles over there. Looks really cool. And then we're going to work out how we're going to light it all. Also, we got these hand warmers. It's definitely a hand warmery day today, so we're going to get those on before we go any further. And I freeze my fingers off. Well, rather predictably, this is really quite difficult. We've got the camera just here. We've got a bunch of fantastic ice pancakes there in the waterfall. As you can see, we're pretty near the edge. I mean, it's not very deep, but we don't want to fall in anyway when it's this cold. And the problem we've got is, obviously there's not enough light, so I'm doing a really long exposure, about 7 minutes or so, which is actually not looking too bad. But of course, then the stars are all blurred and star trail like, which isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world, but I'd rather have pinpoint stars. So what I want to try is simulating the moon a little bit. There's some really nice, look at that, icicles over there. So I want to get a bit of light up there. Where we're at the moment is we're on 7-minute exposures, f4, ISO 3200, and a shot, we're focus bracketing with a shot for the foreground ice pancakes and then another shot for the mountains, which you can't see at the moment. So I've got that done, but what I'm going to try is a single shot, about 20 seconds, f3.2, ISO 3200, to see if, where am I? There we are. To see if it's possible to get everything done in a oneer with a bit of lighting on it. So what we need is to simulate the moon. So let's go and do that. What better way to simulate the moon than to use a drone? So let's send this little puppy up and put the landing light on. And we'll hover him in the right place. Excellent. We're going to put the drone over to the side a little bit. So it looks like there's light coming in obliquely from the side, so we'll give that a go. The drone is way up there. Okay, we're going to call it quits there. We've done landscape and portrait, focus stacked, and then a lower composition as well. So I'm hoping I might have enough to be getting on with. The sky has gone a bit green, so there's a faint aurora out there, but not enough to hang around, I think. It's just a kind of greenish glow. Looking all right on the camera so far. Let's see what it is like on the computer, shall we? Right, back at HQ now, the next day. We've got the pictures imported into Lightroom, and there's a whole selection of them. Some of them look a bit weird, like this one, where I'm using my head torch just to try and get some focus. And we've got the very first shot here, just trying to get a composition. You can see the sort of thing we're looking for. There's that waterfall there with all the ice that you can now see, and here's the pancakes in the front. And you can see the problem I've got here, that trying to get some sharpness in the stars is giving me a very defocused set of pancakes. So it's all about focus stacking, this one. So we've got a whole set of pictures. I've already picked out some that we're going to work on a bit more. And what's interesting is you can see from when we started off, there's this kind of air glow in the sky. And when we get in towards the end, let's just pick out this one here. The sky is completely green. It's absolutely wild. So it can look kind of odd, but that's what was there. You'll see there's two selected here in yellow. One is for close-in focus. Probably not that one. So that one there is for the stars, focus on the stars, and the next one is for focus on the ice. So I've got those selected. Where's one of those much longer ones? Let's see if we can find him somewhere. Here we go. So this is just starlight here. 7 minutes, I think this one was. You can see we got these star trails. Kind of like them. Interesting. Might do a bit more work on these later on. But let's pick out these two first of all and get them focus stacked in Photoshop. Actually, before we send it into Photoshop, I've just remembered that we need to denoise it first. What happens with Photoshop is I convert the images into TIFFs, TIFF format in Photoshop, and you can't then use the AI denoise in Lightroom on the result. So what we're going to do is denoise these before we chuck them into Photoshop. As you can see, they're not too noisy, but this will definitely get them a bit crisper. So if you haven't used Lightroom's AI denoising, it is bonkers good. So you can shoot at ISO 3200, not a problem at all. So I'll just do those two, and then the next thing you'll see is both images exported into Photoshop as layers. All right, here we are on Photoshop. We've got the two images in loaded up as layers here, and the top one is the foreground and midground focus. So if we have a look in, you can see this is all crispy sharp here, but as we go up, the stars are quite blurred. But if we switch to the other image, you can see how sharp those stars are, how sharp the mountains are. But if you come down here, you can see these ice pancakes are all fuzzy. So what we're going to do is a really simple masking. And we're going to select the top layer, and we're going to mask off the top of the image here, the blurry stars and the mountains. Masking just means you show the image below, the layer below, through the above image. So as an example here, if I paint onto, there we go, you can see that, you paint onto the top image black onto the mask, and the image below shines through. So let's just change the flow up to 100 here. And you see it's different exposure for used for the star image slightly, so pulling out the stars a bit more. And then we're going to need to be pretty careful as we get a bit further down. So let's just tease into this a little bit. We'll shrink the brush down. And we're going to make a few small changes to this, but you can see when you change the focus, the alignment of the lens changes slightly as well. That's looking all right as a first pass. To save you watching this for hours and hours, I may just do a bit more refining, but that's looking all right actually. And we'll come back to you in a minute when we're back into Lightroom. All right, we're back in Lightroom again. I did do a bit of more detailed masking there just to get it right, but the end result is this TIFF file here. And this is the one we're going to work on and do a bit more editing on. So as we can see now, we've got pretty sharp stars and we got pretty sharp foreground. So the next question is, what are we going to do with it? what do we want to do? Well, this corner here is a bit bright compared to that one, so we want to balance that off a little bit. The sky's looking pretty good. Let's just have a little bit of a play around, shall we? So first thing we're going to do is just bring down the exposure in this area over here. This is just a bit bright, and I might have to go in with a brush here and bring this down. This little chap here. So the first was a linear gradient, and now I'm just using a brush to be a bit more precise. And we're just doing that local change there, like so. Let's see what else we've got. And it doesn't suck as an image, does it? Be quite nice to bring out some of the rocks and boulders under the water there. So let's have a look at that with another brush here. And I think what we want here is a little bit of clarity. Not too much. So I'm just brushing in to start with. And let's see what we get there. A very small change, so let's give it a little bit of contrast adjustment. Bring the exposure up slightly. So it's a bit better in there. I think I could do a bit more on that. Let's just make the image pop a little bit more with a bit more clarity. There we go. You see the change there? Don't want too much though, so about there will do. Now, what have we got up here? Those mountains look pretty good. Sometimes I'll put a bit more exposure on the snow for something like this, but it's pretty good as is. I think I'll just stick a gradient down the bottom here because I'm not liking this very much. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just take some of that off there. The idea is to make sure we got this guy here with a little bit of a border around it, but that meant getting that bit in there. That bit down the bottom right is a bit bright, so I still need to get that down a little bit more, I think. What was that? That was this mask, wasn't it? Let's just take that down a bit more. All right, I think what we're going to do is we're going to just bring up the pancakes a little bit. They're looking a bit dull, and when I was there they just reflected the light really nicely. What I thought was amazing was that they actually didn't move. I thought they'd be swirling around, but they seem to have kind of frozen together into this clump. And I thought it was going to be really difficult, they'd be swirling around all over the place, but they weren't. So it made things an awful lot easier for me. Even on those 7-minute exposures, they were still in the same place. So that's a bit nicer, isn't it? Just open them up a little bit. And I think we'll see if we can just give them a little bit more contrast just on those pancakes. And just got to watch putting too much clarity. It makes things look a bit kind of crunchy. Right, that's looking better. Okay, so a bunch of local adjustments done. That sky is bonkers, isn't it? Let's do sharpening for the whole thing. How much sharpening do we want? Well, about that much. And that's probably too much. Let's come back a bit. And what we're going to do is mask the sharpening only to the edges, so you don't get everything looking over sharp. Look at that, those icicles there. That's nice, isn't it? How the stars looking? Pretty good. There's a very slight elongation to the stars at 20 seconds. 15 would have probably been a bit better. Don't need any more saturation in this guy. Oh, by the way, there, look, you see, denoise is not currently compatible with this photo format. You can't denoise a TIFF, which is why I did the denoising first. So I think for first pass, we're going to leave it at that for this one. And let's just give him 4 stars for now. And then we're going to work on this second one here, this landscape format one, which is a completely different looking composition. And as you can see, it's a bit darker as well. So I'll come back to you when I've done pretty much the same thing on this landscape format one and show you what we've got. All right, we're back in Lightroom again, been to Photoshop. We've done the focus stacking on this image. So on the left, you've got the one which is the combined 2 images together, and on the right is the one where just the stars and the background are in focus, so pre-processed. So if we just have a quick compare between the two, you can see both of them nice and sharp in the background, but when you come to the foreground, on the left is nice and crisp, and on the right is blurred. So the shot on the left now is sharp front to back, which is what we want. And that's the one we're going to do any further editing on. So happy days for that. We're very pleased. The question then is, what are we going to do with it? So let's have a look. A bit like the other one, actually, and the sky is crazy. Look at it. A waterfall in the centre. We've got the different sort of feel to the composition, because you've got the pancakes coming in from the left. You've got these rocks coming in from the right. You've got the rocks balancing on the left there. Also pleasingly circular. Really tricky here actually, because I was balanced on a very small ledge over this pool, so it's quite hard to actually get a composition that was going to work. But I quite like this. That gap there is rather it wasn't there. It'd be nice if there were rocks going all the way around it. Similar over there, but not to worry. Like the previous image, we've got this quite bright bit there. So we'll probably have to do something with that. Don't know if we'll do much to the sky, because it's pretty amazing. Again, I think we'll bring out the rocks there. So let's do that first. Let's bring out the rocks under the water first. We'll get a brush on it, we'll pop the exposure up and the shadows up, and just do a quick bit of exploration to see what we get around here. This is all going to be quite subtle. Right. The good thing about this session here was the light that you're seeing on the waterfall and the ice here and the rocks is all from the drone, which was kind of up there to the right. I did move the drone in quite a few different places. I tried it over the left, tried it over the right, tried it forward a bit, tried it backward a bit to get something that was going to work. But yeah, pretty pleased with the way that's come out. So there we go, that's bringing those rocks out quite nicely, isn't it? Not too much though. Not too much. And then we're going to do another brush just to bring out the pancakes a little bit as well. Again, not too much. Let's bring the highlights up a little bit. And I think we might do something a little bit similar over here. The waterfall is alright. I think we don't want to do too much there, but there we go. A little bit of tweaking. Okay, we're going to just bring this down a little bit around here. So I think we'll just go for a, let's just do it with a brush, shall we? Slightly larger. And kind of contemplating I might crop that out. We'll see how we get on. So I think, you know, as a quick edit, we're looking all right, I think. Let's just have a look at those two that we've got. Here's the first one. Let's get rid of that and do that. That's pretty nice. Liking that a lot. Let's have a look at the other one. Which do you prefer, landscape or portrait? I kind of like... kind of like both. I think I'd err towards this one just for these rocks on the side here. Very nice though, either way, not bad for a quick edit. That'll do us for now. I'll show the final versions in a moment. Thanks as usual. Cheers.